All right. So, welcome, Joan Harris, and welcome to Taking the Leap. Taking the Leap are conversations with women who have gone out and created their dream business and changed their life. I'm Caryn Saitz. I'm the host of Taking the Leap. I'm also the CEO of MastermindEX and MastermindEX. And I'm really excited to have a very special guest here today, Joan Harris. So, welcome, Joan. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's honestly my honor and my pleasure.
Great.
So I always start by saying how I met the person that I'm having the conversation with. And I met Joan, I think it was about 4 years ago. It was definitely pre COVID. And we were introduced by a colleague. And Joan actually hired me to do a conference for the Aging Life Care Association in New England. And I'm honestly, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had working with a client. I learned so much, and I also really enjoyed working with everyone in the organization. It's been a true pleasure, and I'm excited to say that I'm actually doing their conference again this year. So, and I also did their virtual conference over the last couple of years. So, to be working with an incredible group of dedicated people who care so much about their clients, and you're going to learn a little bit about that. And actually, I have to say, I didn't know the industry even existed prior to doing the conference, and I've learned so much. So, welcome, Joan, and I can't wait for everyone to meet you. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing, and then where you are today, and then we're going to talk about how you actually got there.
So, first of all, thank you so much. It's great to be here. And what you said that it is any opportunity to get the word out that aging life care professionals exist is a great opportunity because that's one of our big challenges. So there's 2,500 nationally certified care managers across the country, and there's over 250 of us in New England. And many of us are social workers. I'm a social worker by trade. Some are nurses and other allied health professionals. But we bring with us, like any private consultant, a lifelong body of accumulated knowledge and understanding of the field of elder care. And as consultants, with the code of ethics that we have, being a member of our national association, we have one client, and that's the elder. So we are truly the objective outsider who really has 100% the lens of what is in the best interest of the client to get them to their goals by supporting their families, um, and building a plan and being on that journey with families. We're serving the client. We cannot ever benefit from referrals that we make. So we are truly partners as people head into aging and all the challenges that it brings. I
Were
fell into
you generally hired by the family, or?
often, very often, yes,
Mhm.
often the children of or whatever relationship it is, a younger generation is often the one reaching out to us. Often they're getting information about us from elder law attorneys or financial advisors who know that they don't do what we do, and we work very collaboratively with the team of people, or to build a team of people around our clients.
So I have to, full disclosure, I have actually used Joan Services, and you know,
Informally.
informally, exactly. And I would say, our mom lives a really distance from us. I mean, I live in the Boston area. My mom's in South Florida, and with COVID, it's been really difficult to be down there as often as we would love to be. So having found someone to see be our sort of eyes and ears on the ground is so incredibly helpful, because God forbid there's an emergency. It's not like we can just easily, be there in a half hour and do what needs to be done. And also, we don't necessarily know all the resources that are local. And one of the things that I've learned over time, and um, Joan can speak to this, is it does take such a team. And they say it takes a village, it takes a team. It's not just one person. When you start to really, work with your parents and figure out what's needed, it's a lot of different resources that come into play, and how they interact and how they're managed truly is a full-time job. And for those of us that have full-time jobs and then some, and families and kids and everything else that goes along with it, it is it's very difficult, and it's also something that we want to do. I mean, I think there's this, we want to help our parents. I mean, they've helped us, and now it's our turn, to give back and try to do something, but it's not that easy.
I think your situation is really common that we help a lot of our clients who their kids live out of state. We also move people across the country. So, for example, I had a client in Hawaii, and she had lived there many years, and I connected with a care manager in Hawaii who did the assessment. I was able to work with the son locally, and we flew her with a caregiver straight into an assisted living community here near her son. So we can really use our network. But the other thing is, it's wonderful for families to be able to be the family. And we can
Right.
often get engaged in complex family systems or really coach families around all the issues related to different types of Alzheimer's or lifelong mental illness, really complexity
Hmm.
that we can really kind of sort through and understand the path and help the families to get there. So it is everything. It's all of the above and it all starts with an assessment, recommendations, and being aligned with families and clients on what the goals are,
Right.
and then helping them get there. So we do everything from taking clients' doctor's appointments, running to the emergency room, vetting the right
Hmm.
community and making sure that communities or nursing homes are the right fit. And certainly the past 2 years with COVID, um, it's really been a war that we've been fighting to make sure our clients are safe, that they have what they need to fight the isolation that they've been dealing with, to
Right.
make sure they're connected. And so these partnerships are really rewarding for us. That's kind of one of the joys of being in this work.
So, yeah, and so one of the things, I mean, taking the leap is really about you, and it's your transitions that you've gone through in terms of taking on this role. So, can you tell us a little bit about where you started and then how you transitioned, because now you have your own company,
Hmm.
and you're an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
and that wasn't where you started out. So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Yes, and I'll keep it really succinct because it started 38 years ago. So I fell into elder care, to casework, working for one of the state funded home care agencies. And that, like for many of us as a social worker, that was my learning ground. And I just knew I was home. I just have a passion for working with older adults. And so everything that I have done throughout the years is basically working very deeply in all the different types of industries where you would find older adults, whether that I did marketing in assisted living and retirement living. I worked in private home care. I was a discharge planner in a hospital. I worked in a skilled nursing facility. And I was fortunate when I really needed more flexibility due to my, having children,
Hmm.
to be mentored by a care manager and discover that because of my decades of experience, that I could then hone that trade. And really, it is an art form, and we're all different because we all bring a different background, but that
Hmm.
I could do an assessment and really understand the whole person. And then the path to them for them opens up quite easily to me, because that's the skill that I've been able to build. Um,
And
because
it came through all the different jobs that and all the
all the
different
different,
roles that you
right,
had,
that's right.
which doing them was never, I mean, ending up where you are today was never the goal. It wasn't
Never the
your
goal. I
personal goal.
actually never thought I would go on my own ever. And what I did was I stepped away from a position because I felt like they were compromising my ethics. And I did something a little bit more MBA ish, we'll say, because I thought, okay, it's healthcare, and stepping away from something gives you an opportunity to really understand how much you miss it and how much you love it, and how what you thought you would try just wasn't where really the passion that you had for the work. And that's when I had that moment when I started interviewing with some of the larger care management groups, and I had worked for a large group, which had been wonderful. But I just dawned on me that I really wanted to serve people the way I knew they needed to be served, and the people that I knew I could serve. And ethically, I wanted to run this practice. Um, and it just dawned on me that I just really didn't want to just go back to working for other care managers. And there's a financial component as well, to having your own business. And I did have some training in business, but really had never been on my own. And I think it was just that really aha moment that my
Mhm.
kids were, independent at that point, and there was a little bit of a financial cushion that I might not have had years ago. It was like
Mhm.
everything aligned. And I think what inspired my transition was the support of my peers, having a
Ah.
really robust peer group that really championed me, not just because, when I was part of a company and just what I could contribute to just the being the worker bee, but we all were supporting each other. Having that, I never felt alone when I took that leap.
And did that come from being part of one organization or like like an aging care life care
Right.
association or just colleagues that you put together yourself? Was it a
No, I was invited to join a peer support group. We're required to do for our certification peer supervision. So the association encourages these peer groups, and I was invited to join one, which I call the gift that just keeps on giving. And we've
Mhm.
become such good friends. But we do support each other. There's always more to learn. If
It's
I
your
don't,
mastermind, right?
it is. It absolutely is. So I had that to support me, as well as, quite honestly, my husband. If he hadn't said to me, "You can do this and you should do this." So I think that whatever your support system is, you need that to take that leap. And I think that was really pivotal for me, just saying, okay, I'm kind of the classic, didn't have a business plan,
Mhm.
and I just did it. But I had a referral base because the credibility that I've had in the marketplace went with me each position.
Right.
And being in this field of care management, now 14 years, when I started my practice, I had credibility that went with me. So
And
that was
also,
really
I mean, I know you mentioned the word ethics
important.
and, being really ethical and really caring and really, I mean, I think that it definitely is a differentiator. Not to say that there are people, but there are people in every industry that, it's a job, and there are people in every industry where it's their passion and their love. And, this is a people driven industry. You're connecting with families, you're connecting with the elder person, you have to cross those generations. I mean, it's a
That's right.
very intergenerational role that you play.
And what I think you really bring with the time in the field is the vetted best kind of pearls of resources that you're bringing your clients the best. But what I also love about being on my own is that I know when a case is better served by another care manager, and I'm
Mhm.
no longer at peril of losing my job if I refer, which I
Right.
do all the time, either because it's geographic or because I know there's a care manager that I know well, because I've been in leadership in my
Mhm.
organization and I now really know my peers really well, who can serve that client in a more meaningful way. I don't have to hesitate. So
Right.
I think that's it.
It also takes a lot of different expertise, and
Yeah,
not everybody has every expertise. And it's true that you can bring in some, but at the end of the day, if another care manager has that, it's better for everybody, if they have that out of the gate, because that experience share that they can do and the resources that they have at their hands,
that's right.
saves everybody a lot of time and money. I mean, it's not inexpensive to have the support of a care management,
That's,
a
that's right. And
organization.
if you're doing your job well, there's so much work for all of us. So keep the clients you can really serve. Um, what I also love about taking this leap is it's forced me to grow in areas that I never anticipated.
Hmm.
Um, and I love that challenge. And I
So
again,
what were those areas? I mean, was it business?
oh,
Was it mostly business things, or what did you have to really go out and learn to make this manage your own company work?
QuickBooks. I'm
That's a
not
good
a
one.
financial person. I have a
Mhm.
bookkeeper who um, I think that is so important to offload the things I'll never be really good at, but I've learned it and I can do it to the point
Right.
where I'm efficient.
And you can
Hiring,
manage someone, but you know it's not a good use of your time.
that's right. So they keep me on the straight and narrow, and I can sleep at night because all of that is in good hand.
Right.
Even though I've learned it, because as a business owner, I need to know what those numbers are. So that's been a good challenge. Hiring. I had never hired or supervised people before. And I love mentoring the care manager that I hired a year ago into my practice. And it's just fun, and it is exciting to see her grow and see her love for the work and see her care for my clients, our clients, in the way that I
Hmm.
wanted someone to be able to. And really kind of sit back and think about, what do I want this practice to look like? And every step of that is growing and learning and really reflecting. And so I'm coming up on my fifth anniversary being
Oh
on
my
my
God,
own,
congratulations.
which
That's exciting.
it
And
is.
that's a huge milestone. I mean, you know, to be able to not only maintain it but grow it. And I think that one of the comments that you made was, in order to really grow it or scale it, and to serve more people, you have to realize you can't do it all. You
Yes,
need to bring in the experts, you need to bring in the business people and the back and the people that are going to be behind you to support your efforts so you can go out and do what you do best, which is
that's right.
obviously working with the clients and working with the families and doing the assessments and understanding their needs, which I think is your magic that you bring to the table with them.
So thank you. I think what's also really exciting is to think about additional opportunities. So for me, and many care managers, we're jumping into the mess. People are, already pretty far down the road, and it's chaos. Mom's in the hospital, dad can't take care of her. What do we do? Um, or so I have a passion to get up and running my program that gets to people sooner, to educate people and to give them a whole roadmap that's based on their vision and their goals for their future. I can't get that program off the ground and do that prevention until I have more help with the day to day. So I think it's probably what every entrepreneur faces, in that I'm in that tight spot right now where I'm still so busy doing and taking
Right.
care of people. And how do I now build it so I can also grow in the way that I want to grow? So
Yeah,
it's
It,
it's
it
a
is a
challenge.
struggle. I mean,
It's a
look, I've been
struggle.
an entrepreneur my entire life.
Yeah.
And when you're doing the work, you're totally immersed in it. And then, oh, something happens and that client, it ends the relationship, and you realize, oh, I need to go out and sell. And then, I need more clients. I need to fill the pipeline. And it is a constant struggle unless you can find the support and the help that you need and really identify their roles and also be able to manage them or have someone else manage them so you can do what you do best. And in that case, you can scale it and you can grow it and you can build a much larger organization that can serve more people. And as you said, be on the preventative side as opposed to the reactive,
Right.
side, which is obviously a lot better for families and for the people that you're serving.
It really can be a whole different outcome for people. That's what's so exciting about it. Because often, and I think every care manager finds this, we find people who have made poor decisions because they really didn't have that deeper dive understanding of where they were going and what they were doing. So, we can really affect a much better a quality of life for people if we can get to them sooner. So
Right. Well,
um,
they got to know you exist, and
that's
I
right.
mean that's like step one, and that there is someone there that can actually help them. And I think that's a really, I think it's also scary to ask for help at that point.
Yeah,
You're like, you don't always want to admit that you're not as sharp as maybe you were before. You don't want to ask your kids for help. You want to remain, you're sometimes you're just fiercely independent. I mean, I see it,
yeah,
and you just don't want to ask for the help. But if you do ask for the help, you can make such great strides. And that's what's so important. And in order for you to get that message out, that also takes marketing and letting people
that's right.
know that the benefits of what can happen if you do start this earlier, as opposed to when you're in this chaotic, really scary emergency kind of, situation. And then you're doing whatever you can in that moment. It's a really big difference.
Right. It really limits your options
Yeah.
because windows of opportunity close. But um, I think what people need to know is that I'm probably your classic business owner in that I took the leap without a plan, but with a really good support system. And with that knowledge, but it took a while for me to be able to not have that imposter syndrome and say, I really I can do this. And that has been just amazing to be able to say, okay, that person, that care manager, they have 10 people working for them, they're amazing. But just to be kinder to yourself and say,
Right.
I'm getting there in my way. I'm going to build this. I'm going to do this. Not compare yourself to people. And,
Give
but
yourself some grace, right?
I'm sorry.
Give
Yeah,
yourself some grace.
that's right. Because you
What's
can really
interesting
beat
is,
yourself up a little
right,
bit.
right. And it doesn't actually matter what professional service you're delivering. I was thinking about that as
Yeah.
you were saying it. I mean, whether you're in the elder care management, or whether you're a coach, or whether you're a social worker, or it
Mhm.
doesn't actually really matter, because you're all facing, I mean, we're all facing the same kinds of issues.
Right.
And in many cases, you've been working for a company for a long time, and you have this desire, or you're in a situation where you have to go out on your own for some reason, whatever it is. And just understanding that, what, it's not going to happen overnight. And what, I can do this. And to look for your own support in the
Right.
situations,
That's critical.
um, not always just giving, because in all those professional service industries, we're giving to our clients, and we're sort of, our own self-care is coming at the very end of it. And understanding that and realizing, as they say, when you're on the airplane, put your own mask on first, right?
Right.
That we can't help others unless we, you know, help ourselves, and know, what we're capable of in that moment, and getting other people to help us when we're not. I think that's a huge aspect of it.
And I think our association is doing a lot more now, putting together national groups of care managers who supervise other care managers or solo practitioners. And there's a lot more sharing because we're all reinventing the wheel. So the fact
Mhm.
that we have this support system is really helpful. So I think anyone starting out, that support system is going to look different, but yet I think it's critical,
Right.
because otherwise, if you're alone with it, I think that's really hard. I just want to say one other thing. I think that being in leadership, I had never been in leadership in really in anything. I've been a
Mhm.
social worker for 30 years. And that gave me a different skill set. So when I started my business, I also, when I became vice president of New England and then president, that's when we met. And the skill set that getting involved in the association gave me has leaps and bounds helped me to move forward in
Mhm.
my business. So I think thinking about what are the other skills I need in order to reach my business goals is something I'm always thinking about.
So what if you were to think about a couple of the leadership skills that you did gain by doing that? What do you think? How would you identify them?
So I think it gives you a certain confidence I also think that I learned how to delegate
Mm,
instead
that's a
of
big one.
always doing it myself and feeling comfortable asking other people to do things,
Mhm,
which is important when you then have people working with you.
mhm,
So I think it was a big confidence boost that I didn't have to do it all. And I just learned how to speak up and share my viewpoint and
mhm.
collaborate and also not do it all and,
And
delegate.
probably some of the organizational skills as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And
That's
find good people like you so that we didn't have to do it all. I mean,
right, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. I got to take some of that off your plate. So, there are so many women who are like you know, want to do something different, have that aha moment, and maybe it's because of their kids, maybe it's because of ethics, maybe it's just because of the economy or whatever situation they find themselves in. What are a couple of things that if you knew before you took that leap, that would have helped make it easier? Are there some things that would have helped you? Um, or was it just, learn on the job and take it as it comes?
I look back and I thought about that question. And I don't think I would have done it any other way. I mean, certainly, um, my skill set is I'm not particularly a detail oriented person. So for me, I had the concept and the picture when I took the leap of what I wanted to do in terms of my ethics, how to run my practice, how to take care of people.
Mhm.
And then I also brought in systems that I was familiar with in terms of software systems I had used, and so that they were like old friends and I didn't have to learn everything new right away. And
Mhm.
so I think it's just having the courage to say it's okay that I'm going to face things I don't know. And I think that is like the trigger. I don't know that I would do it any differently, but again, having that support system, um, that was key for me personally. The
Right.
peer
To
group,
share ideas and to say, am I doing this right? Or, am I on the right track? Does
and
this
and
make
and
does
and,
this make
and
sense?
people cheering you on, that telling you you can do it until you
Right,
believe
right.
that
So
you
you're
can do
not
it.
alone.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
don't know.
huge.
Yeah.
So I know there are many people out there that are similar to me and others that find themselves in that sandwich, between kids and family and parents. And so what's the best way to find someone that they can work with and how can they find you as well?
So as I said before, we have an association all, and there are care managers all across the country. I talk to many people who then I will look on our National Association website, aginglifecare.org, find a care manager tab, put in a zip code. The certified care managers will pop up. Not every corner of the country has someone, so I do know how to kind of dig and
Right,
find
right.
people. Um,
And what
I'm
should they look for? Are there qualities or things that, when they're thinking about someone, what's important? What are the criteria that they should think about when they're going to hire someone like you?
Right. So I think when I vet a care manager on our national website, I look whether or not they have a website. I want to see kind of who they are, what their background is, how long, what their experience is. Have they been practicing for a while? I think people need to talk to someone, and I think most care managers are willing to have those conversations. I
Mhm.
I personally spend a good amount of time with people because I think it's such a trust when people bring you into their family and their personal life.
Mhm.
And so I think it's really important for people to feel this is a fit. This is someone I jive with that I can really work with. So I would recommend people talk to more than one care manager, um, so
And
that
are
they
there questions that you think are pivotal, in making that decision? Is there like if there were one question that you think that someone should ask you, what would it be?
so I think it's really how you run the practice. For me, um, there are never should never be any surprises when people get my invoice. We agree upon a scope of work. When that scope of work, let's say it's a nursing home placement, is complete, we then have a conversation. Here are the things I think could be helpful. What are the pieces you would like me to do? Or what is the additional support that you feel you need from us? So I think having really good boundaries and communication is critical in working with care managers.
Hmm.
If you feel that you need someone with a certain length of career and experience, I think it really, Caryn, is about the fit according to your family member or your
Hmm.
own needs. And so people should listen to their gut. They should feel like things are very well laid out. There's not going to be any surprises. And they should feel that sense of relief. This is someone I can work with who's going to help me get to where I need to be.
So I think I would add to that, having gone through the process, that I think there's a fit between you as the family member and the the elder care uh, uh, management person, but there's also the fit with the person that is your parent,
Right,
because they have to create that sense of trust with them. They
right.
have to create a relationship with them, and they have to do it in a way that is honest and open, and because
And
if that,
respectful.
and respectful,
Yeah,
absolutely. And so it's on you have to create multiple relationships. It's not just, okay, well, I think you're great, and this is great, but if you don't get along with my
right.
parent, right, then it's not going to work.
So
So I
that's
think that's the
what,
interesting part, and
yeah.
it's multiple relationships at the same time, and the questions are going to be different that I might be interested in asking you versus what is coming from the person.
Caryn, I just want to say that I think every care manager has a different style. When I meet my client, the older adult, for the first time, there's no badge, there's no papers. It is really all about making that connection and to make it clear to them that, because I think older adults have this fear they're going to put me somewhere. They're somehow going to come in here and take control over my life. So I
Hmm.
think it's really important, even when there's dementia, doesn't matter, that people understand I work for you. I really want to understand what's important to you and have a dialogue, because until you've heard their story, you have no credibility. Even if you walk in the door and you kind of like, oh, yeah, I know the answer here. You
Right.
need to listen. So I think that is really, as you just said, really key in making that connection with the older adult, no matter where they are on the spectrum of cognition.
I think they want a friend. I mean, I often say, well, this person's working for you, but at the end of the day,
Mhm.
they don't want to feel like they've hired someone. They want to
It's a back
feel
and forth.
they
Right.
want to exactly, they want to
Yeah.
feel a friendship with the person. They want to feel that it is, that you care about them and they care about you.
And
And
you
I
don't
think,
see them as this, as an old person. You see them for who they are and who
right.
they have been, and with this incredible history.
Right. I'm looking for all fortunate. We're all going to be there.
That's right.
And and honoring that, I think, and allowing them the space to honor themselves at that point and share their stories and who they are, I think is really an important aspect of the work that you do, because it allows you to see inside them, and it also allows you to help them, I think, more easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
how
think
do people find you?
how do people find me? So I named my company Symphony Care Management because I see my role not always as the doer, but making sure that things are working well, making that composition. I don't
You're the
play.
conductor? Are you the
Yes,
conductor?
we are the conductor. So that's why I named my company. I am in Metro West in the Boston area. Um, the consultations for the life planning can really be not as geographic. So I'm happy to speak with anyone and give them direction and do consultations. But Metro West, Greater Boston for care management, we have to be able to get to people. We have
Mhm.
to be those boots on the ground, eyes and ears. We do a lot of coaching of the care teams we build. So my website is symphonycaremanagement.com. And I think what's really interesting when you look at websites of care managers is it kind of shows kind of who we are and how we approach
Mm.
this work. And again, I think we're all really unique because we bring with us our lifetime and body of work and experience, and that really forms our lens in how we approach this work.
Well, I personally can't thank you enough. I also have to say that seriously, the work that is done by this entire industry is just so important. And for everyone that's fortunate enough to work with someone in the industry, they'll realize the critical role that they play in they can extend people's lives in ways that you could never imagine. And it's truly an honor, and I've been in awe since the first time I met both you and just all of the people in that organization to see the work that
Thank
they're doing
you.
because it is not easy. And I think we've all experienced moments where, like, oh my God, just hang up that phone, or it's really hard when it's your own parent.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier when someone is able to have that perspective and that and be
Without that
objective.
emotional
Take
attachment.
that emotion out of the conversation and just do what has to be done and make it happen. And it's really a very special thing to be able to work with someone like that. So Joan, you've totally taken the leap. I'm so proud of the work that you
Thank
do. So
you.
honored to like be able to have the conversation and also to share who you are with others. So thank you
Thank
for your
you.
time today. I hope people
I
have the
appreciate
opportunity to meet you and learn from you and be your friend. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Great to
My
be here with you.
pleasure. Thanks everybody for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you on LinkedIn again soon. Thank you.